Well, I'm sure all y'all have heard this by now. Was one of the kids in the house possibly a CI? Anyways, I think this one deserves a look. Here's Birdie's details. Hive mind. Man puts out some good stuff. Hey, don't be hating on Birdie.
Like, well, authorities say that there's no foul play suspected. Okay, that's it? You're just going to read those words?
That's good.
What I want to talk about next is this video here. And this is from Connor.H8. Let me pull this up. He's been dropping a lot of random body cam footage clips.
Is he on YouTube?
Yeah, he's on YouTube. Here's his page. Thank you, Sammy. Matrix reposted this, but gave credit to Connor. I've showed a couple of Connor's clips before. This is I've listened to this a million times. Luna Bliss, one of my mods, has been on a generational run sending me stuff in the mornings, and I will be quiet and just let everybody hear this for themselves.
It's the one on the other side, right? The gray.
There's a party last night.
Yeah. At that house.
Yeah. But
Why is that redacted?
Right. Just wait.
I don't know the names of the victims.
I can tell you.
I don't know the names of the victims.
Oh my God.
I don't know the names of the victims.
Okay.
Oh.
You heard that.
Oh yeah.
That's clear as day.
So
one of the victims is a CI.
So there's that. Here's a another clip from two amazing channels. True Crime Cafe with Dago, personal friend of mine. Devil's Advocates. If y'all haven't seen them, go check them out. There's all their details. We've all heard some real wild theories, but this one's real interesting.
It makes sense to me that Gonsalves family would be pushing back on alternative narratives if, hypothetically, their daughter was a confidential informant. Her being there could be connected to the collateral damage that took place. They would have most likely known that she was a CI, and therefore there's probably a lot of guilt, again, hypothetically, to know that your child was involved in something that could have led to other people ending up as collateral damage.
And the sad thing is, Joe, that's a good point. It's not her fault. It's not her fault at all. If anybody they should be angry with, if that were to be the truth, it's Moscow Police Department and Latah County. That's who they should have been mad at and should be mad at the entire time because of the entire situation, in my opinion.
And I just can't get past the idea of, if there was a CI, what agency was it through? I talked to a friend today who was a state trooper, and he was a federal corrections officer, and I talked about it with him. I said, what do you think is most likely? And he said, well, it could have been the DEA. It could have been the feds, in some capacity. He said, well, if there was a multi-agency task force in the area, it could be any agency that there was a CI for.
There was two agencies in town before this happened, Joe. That's another good point. FBI and DEA were both there on the ground, and if they grabbed a hold of one of these kids and said, hey, why don't you help us out here, do this, and that would make perfect sense.
There's a document that exists that's public record. The University of Idaho and Pullman Police Department had an agreement to embed police officers in the fraternity life, in the sororities and the fraternities, to look for things like drugs in the fraternities and sororities and Greek life. So we now know that was an ongoing thing. And we also have a video recently that we just watched where an officer said one of the victims was a CI. They were working with the police department. So if they were ratting on drugs.
This sounds interesting. I mean, we've all heard a bunch of weird ass theories. These ain't that far-fetched. Give it a chance. Give it a chance.
moving through Greek life, that's the kind of thing that would get people killed. As soon as somebody who's losing potentially tons of money in the drug trade because somebody's working with the cops, you know they're going to kill somebody that's snitching to the cops. So did that house get hit and everybody in it paid maybe collateral damage? Or it very much could be drug related. Absolutely.
And I've seen a couple people, DA, over the past couple of days in my channel that have said that they think, because we were talking about targets yesterday. 2 people in my chat yesterday said that they believe that all of them could have been a target. And I stopped and thought for a minute. 3 of the girls and 3 of the 4 victims had just recently left and separated from their sororities. Very conveniently.
Yeah.
Now finding this out, it made me wonder, did they leave the sororities because they realized there's an issue going on here, and being that they're all housemates to live together, did they say, hey, we need to get the hell away from this? And this could be partially what's going on.
I don't like to be too speculative. You know that I'm afraid of being lumped into a conspiracy channel, but I want to say this.
Poor fucking DA, man.
Somebody that I talk to outside of the channel on a regular basis in a private communication said to me, DA, what if every fraternity and sorority, once they found out about the agreement of embedding police officers, were going, who's the fucking snitch in our fraternity? And could that explain Hudson Lindau being killed? Could it be Hannah McCleary being killed? Could it be like, were people finding out who's the fucking snitch in our house? And did that lead to, and again, 100% speculation. But I was like, wow, that's a really interesting question. Again, there's some other murders or other deaths that are unexplained and sealed, and they don't want to talk about those either. So is it possible Greek life was getting word that there were snitches in Greek life and spying on the fucking drug moving through, and people were getting rubbed out when they found out who the snitches were? What if Ethan, for example, was a CI for his frat? And what if Kaylee was a CI for her sorority? And what if Maddie was collateral damage
You got to give it up for these guys
because they were going after Kaylee? And what if Xana was collateral damage because they were going after Ethan? And maybe that explained why 4 people died. So
what I was going to say, though, is with what DA said last week, you guys, you were there when I did a show about multiple other people whose lives have been lost around this. And I didn't even cover them all. Okay. It kind of like lit that in my brain again. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
What I've been saying all along is, about the school having a lot of sway over this investigation, right? And we know that's the case. And now we know for sure that's the case. I mean, it makes perfect sense that something crazy like that happens and somebody that was working in conjunction with a codified program that the school had in place to have people embedded in the system was the cause of multiple homicide within the school. That school, that is the last thing that school would ever want to get out. So they would be on top of MPD not wanting that to get out, but because the school codified that into the local, an actual program. Imagine this: parents around the country who are thinking of sending their kids to U of I find out that the school had a program in conjunction with law enforcement to use students as informants, and it got 4 students killed. Not only would parents never send their kids to that, the press, the bad press that they would get, the blowback would be astronomical. Lawsuits. There would be lawsuits.
It would be insane.
You're hitting it exactly. This is why. Why? Because if you want to ask the question, if law enforcement is fucking the timeline and moving the timeline, why would they do that? Why? They're not just doing that just to do it. There'd be a reason. It would be to protect millions of dollars and an embarrassment. 2 points I want to bring out about that. Someone pointed out, just hearing that drugs are such a problem on your campus that you have to embed officers with Greek life to look for drugs. Some parents would be like, I don't want to send my kid to a school where it's so bad, the drug problem is so bad, they have to embed officers, whatever. And then second of all, if turning students into snitches for the cops gets 4 people murdered, they'll be like, that was a huge, you just got my kid killed. Like there would be people who would be furious. Like you got my kid killed by turning him into an informant and fucking putting their life. Like who wants to send their kid to that kind of environment? It would
Right.
destroy the school.
No
That could also
doubt.
bring into effect the reason why or where Brian Koberger came into the picture, because they're in turn, not only do we have this happening, we can't allow it to be somebody from here that's one of us. It has to be the outsider. So they're in turn, that brings Brian back into the picture at that point.